Hello, party people. My name is Carter. I am currently in honors, natural science, nature versus nurture. Today, I'm going to be talking about nature versus nurture when it comes to things like trends and fads and what makes us susceptible to self-identifying with those things. But to start our story, I'm going to take us back to a time I think we all remember pretty fondly, the 16th century. Now, in the 16th century, we had a lot of stuff going on. There were kings in Britain. There were a lot of wars going on in Europe. It was a very tumultuous time. The Americas, their low-key got colonized. That's a touchy subject. But the important thing we're going to focus in on to start out with is this idea of glass delusion. Now, in the 16th century, glass got really popular. I'm talking really popular. I'm talking artists everywhere were making art out of it. I'm talking people realized that they could stain it and make it all sorts of cool colors, put it up in their churches and cathedrals. It was a pretty awesome time to be alive. But this draw ultimately led to the people who had the money and the wealth and the power to really gravitating towards it, and therefore kind of trickling down to everybody else in culture. It became this very mystified luxury item going on. Now, there were a lot of cases at the time of this idea of glass delusion. Glass delusion being like people who identify with glass in such a strong way that they think that they are glass or that their organs are glass. So they think that if they touch up against something too fast, if something hits them, they're going to shatter into 1,000 pieces. And so how does this happen? Are there genetic components that cause people to identify with what's popular at the time? Is there nurturing components that cause people, the environment that they're in, to be more susceptible to just have this strong identity with what's popular and going on around them? Well, there are two big cases at the time. I realize I'm throwing up force, but there's two big cases at the time that really tie into something that I'm going to talk about. We have King Charles IV, who famously had glass delusion. He would hide in an iron suit, so that way if anyone touched him, he wouldn't just shatter into a million pieces. That was his biggest fear. And we also had Princess Alexandria of Bulgaria. What's really interesting is we see this high uptick in people who have high rankings in society. These people kind of separated from a lot of what we call normal society and culture at the time, getting this glass delusion and getting so into glass and believing that they are glass. So why are these noble people getting this glass delusion? Well, now that psychology is more popular, we talk about the 1900s to the 2000s in America. We have a lot of good researchers. One's name is John Cacioppo. Did a lot of nurture studies about social wellness and being isolated from groups of people, as many of these noble people were. He basically said that social isolation can cause us to become more self-identifying with the things that we do have around us. And not only that, but also we are more likely to have delusions and psychosis-like episodes and experiences, as some of these noble people did at the time. But on the other side of this, there's a genetic component to it too. In the article Genetic Association of Impulsivity in Young Adults, a multi-narrative study, it basically found that there are strong genetic links and gene links to seeking out these novel, new experiences, especially with something like glass, which was so big at the time in the 16th century. And you can even connect it to things today. We got Labubus, we got silly bands and rainbow looms and this poppet dinosaur I own for some reason. But there are genetic components that can make us more susceptible to seeking that. And that's where I want the gist of this to land, is that these novel new experiences have been around since forever and are going to continue to be around to the future, especially with things like the internet providing this massive access to the world around us and just trends and things going on. But if we can know that certain behaviors can cause us to be more susceptible, such as socially isolating, that can kind of put us in bad mental states or even if we just genetically know that we seek these novel things and that we probably align with what these studies find, that certain people do seek out these things more, we can make better informed decisions moving forward about the trends and fads of today. And that's my TED Talk.